And in that same speech, Mr. Trump said that he will be ordering the lifting of sanctions against Syria to help the country build a new future for itself.
This week, and very importantly, after discussing the situation in Syria with the Crown Prince, your Crown Prince, and also with President Erdogan of Turkey, who called me the other day and asked for a very similar thing, among others, and friends of mine, people that I have a lot of respect for in the Middle East. I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness.
Andrew Donaldson from OrdinaryTimes.com has more on the significance of the announcement.
So while the formal diplomatic recognition and establishment of formal ties is still yet to come, meeting with al-Sarraj, with President Donald Trump, this is, lifting the sanctions. This is de facto legitimizing of the government as far as the United States is concerned. And this was a lot of other people were holding off on this as well, waiting to see what the United States was doing. Remember, Donald Trump is having these meetings in the middle of the GCC meetings. So Saudi Arabia, the Qataris, and others. This is all very much programmed and planned. And the Saudis and the Qataris, along with people like Erdogan and Turkey, this is kind of what their best case scenario was for. Get Donald Trump over there, do this, legitimize it, and then they can start using their sovereign wealth funds to pump a whole lot of money into Syria. Now, of course, that's the geopolitics of this. Underneath all this is the Syrian people that have suffered horrendously. The most conservative humanitarian estimates are at least 500,000 people killed since 2011. And when it was in al-Assad's own government killing his own people, it was various terrorist and rebel groups, including the HTS, which was disbanded and now de facto runs the country. But also you had Wagner Group and the Russians, you had ISIS, you had various al-Qaeda elements. The Syrian people have suffered tremendously. And this is a country that has a lot of economic potential, but because of the Syrian civil war and all the conflict had gone to the very bottom. Now, that's where you get into what are these countries doing in the formal recognition, because the Qatari Sovereign Wealth Fund and the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund is poised to pour a lot of money into Syria. While al-Jilani is not the first extremist and accused terrorist to grab the reins of power, he is showing to be one of the more prudent ones because he's acquired quite a lot of powerful friends here. And these are not the benevolent funds, these are sovereign wealth funds. These are investments. They are seeing an opportunity to put a lot of money into Syria, and they want a return in that investment, which brings us back where we started with some of these geopolitics. With his former ties, there's a lot of questions. In fact, inside the Trump administration, they kind of wanted to hold off on this formal recognition, but Trump, being Trump, has gone ahead and done it now. The Qataris are involved with their money, and they have known terrorist ties. And you have people like Erdogan, who's a big fan of pushing Jilani, even though, like a lot of other people, he had pushed back before he became al-Sarraj and the leader of Syria. So you have all these people who have a lot of crossing streams here. With Erdogan, he likes to play both sides against the middle with Putin, the West, and be a power broker in the Middle East. The Qataris have their hands in a lot of pies. And the Saudis, who have been very much courting Donald Trump and the administration and just signed a brand new arms deal with them, they have a lot of hands in a lot of pies. And the GCC, of course, was built to be a counterbalance to Iranian influence. And of course, Iran lost one of their big proxies when the Bashar government in Syria fell. So that's a lot of moving parts. But the long story of this one is going to be follow that money and the investment. And is this government that had in Syria that has promised to be a 5-year transitional government, is it really going to be a transitional government, or is it the standing up of a new dictatorship? These are all the questions we don't know. But now we know where the money streams are coming, and those money streams come with attachments, and we can start to kind of gauge out where this is going to go down the road.